are changes in this that have to do with indictment. There's indictment made against the senator, then there's stripped of all leadership positions, which is very similar to the process that occurs on the federal level. And so I think one of the goals was to take some of the emotion that may occur, in these types of discussions and a charge, and really have a process in place, and this lays out that process. More specifically, as far as when you take a look at the ethics committee and what's going to be tasked with, we did have rules in place that didn't go quite as far as they do under this version, but rules in place where complaints could be made against a member. However, it was very burdensome, required 18 members to agree, to be able to move forward with that type of questioning, and this limits that down to a smaller number of members, will make it easier for those types of complaints and those discussions to occur.
Is that going to happen though, as Jacob was saying? I mean, it's just it's 35 people, you all know each other, you're mostly friendly, aside from a couple of you. And it's going to require you to do some hard things that humans have a hard time doing. So are you going to do that?
Yeah, and that's, again, part of it being outlined in the bill, in particular with the conflicts. I mean, if someone is made aware of a conflict and there's now a process to follow, to make sure that, the right steps were followed, the right disclosures were followed, and those sorts of things. So, I do believe that this increases our ability to be able to really, in a way, police each other.
What the rules could do, I may be speaking out of turn here, is I think there's two things that we can do. We can add sunshine to the process, announcing the conflicts. And there's been no agreement on all these things. Maybe put the conflicts on the website for the public to have easy access to that. So the rules create sunshine. And then we have to look at incentives. How do we incentivize behavior? And that's legislation largely. Maybe if you're convicted of certain offenses, you lose all your state retirement benefits. That's an idea that's been discussed. If your business is engaged in bribery or some form of improper public influence, maybe you lose the ability for a certain number of years to accept state contract or get any Medicaid money. Those types of things that are real strong incentives for people to avoid this type of behavior are all the things we need to discuss. And then I think we need to discuss a couple other things, dark money and maybe video, or at least saving the audio in the chamber. So I know there's no agreement on that, but since you've asked, I think all those things are going to be up for discussion, not likely agreed on, but I think there'll be a good number of positive steps that we get passed in the next legislative session to really tighten up, add sunshine, and add incentives for appropriate behavior.
But the stick of this is you're going to have to look at your fellow senator and say, I accuse. And that's just really hard to do.
Well, and I think that's another discussion. Do the rules, will the Ethics Commission, or this committee, be a discussion about who all can make a report? Maybe that could include others, including House members or staff or whoever. And so that would start the process. There'll be discussion about all those things, at least in my opinion.
And let me just add that I do believe that members will step up and do the right thing. This is not an easy thing. There's a lot of members who don't like some of the things that we're adopting in these rules, but they know it's necessary and they know that it's the right thing to do. So I have confidence that we have a majority of the Senate, an overwhelming majority of the Senate, when they see one of their colleagues in violation of what we have said is prohibited conduct, will make that accusation. And I would say, if somebody is violating the rules that we have adopted, they will be held accountable.
Well, and if you say that Senator Hutchinson has violated these rules we laid out?
These rules have not even been adopted yet. They're a draft, and so, and I don't know all the facts, and I don't think anybody does.
Well, will anybody here today say that Senator Hutchinson, I guess, has violated the rules that you're proposing?
Well,
I mean, I don't know that you can say that. I mean, I think you have to know what level he disclosed when he did disclose in the Senate. I don't think we know what exactly. Well, there are no charges.
So you're asking us to bypass the entire process that we lay out here. What the process is somebody makes an accusation, there's a hearing, there's witnesses, and then there's a decision made. You're saying don't do any of that, just make a decision.
So this proposal still would allow Mike Whitline, if he was a senator, to take a $1 million loan from a lobbyist?
You can't take that now. We passed that legislation prohibited last year.
Okay.
That's a law. That's not a Senate rule.
And then, this means, I just want to make sure that you guys aren't doing wiggle room, so no more legislative spouses working for the Senate?
That's correct, that's in the rule proposal.
Can you clarify for me, so prior, a senator acting on it as an attorney didn't have to fully disclose this as a financial disclosure? They didn't have to, but this is proposing that they have to now?
If there is a conflict.
Only if there's, okay, so if there's, so right now, they don't have to
And there's-
disclose anything?
Yeah, and there's a discussion about how that needs to be adjusted more, and that'll be part of what the ethics committee is gonna have to take into consideration is what level of transparency needs to occur for an attorney, in particular for their clients, especially those clients that have no business with the state and would have no impact with the state.
And if there was a conflict, so does this include that that senator would not be able to cast a vote or anything if that was their client, they were representing them as an attorney outside the Capitol?
Unless there was a disclosure that that conflict existed and they could participate in the debate.
Debate, but they can't
It
vote.
would be outright.
Okay, so they could talk about it, they just can't vote, as long as they disclose it.
No,
If it's
and again,
disclosed, they
this
could
is-
vote?
Exactly, just very similar to, we've passed legislation that you have a family member that operates a similar business, and those type of disclosures would have to occur before that member can partake in the debate or in a vote.
So that's
But
just being
also, keep in mind,
transparent.
there's a difference between disclosure requirements and prohibited conduct, and you need to go look at prohibited conduct. There are certain items that I think you're alluding to that would fall under prohibited conduct.
So